Thanks for joining us. I'm Raymond Goh, and this is Nightline, news making the headlines. Extension of MCO to not unnecessarily stock up food, says Prime Minister. And Saudi Arabia locks down Riyadh, Makkah and Madinah to curb spread of COVID-19. Good morning. In line with the extension of the movement control order, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on Wednesday urged all Malaysians not to worry that certain food items would run out of stock. The Prime Minister stressed that he had instructed all ministries to make proper arrangements to ensure sufficient supply of basic necessities for the people throughout the MCO.
Please stay calm and don't panic. Now, even though we have extended the movement control order, you don't have to unnecessarily stock up on food because the supply is sufficient, and I assure you that food is enough for everybody. I know you feel burdened, but I don't have choice. I have to extend the movement control order for your own safety. Selain itu, tempoh kuat kuasa perintah ini akan dikaji daripada semasa ke semasa.
On the decision to extend the MCO for another 2 weeks until April 14th, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the move comes after he was given a briefing by the National Security Council (NSC) and the Health Ministry on the COVID-19 threat that showed a spike in new positive cases.
Sehubungan itu, kerajaan telah memutuskan tempoh perintah kawalan pergerakan akan dilanjutkan sehingga 14 April 2020. Saya memaklumkan pelanjutan tempoh ini lebih awal supaya saudara-saudari lebih bersedia. Anda yang berada di kampung tak perlu bergegas balik ke Kuala Lumpur hujung minggu ini. Duduklah dulu di kampung dan jangan ke mana-mana. Anak-anak yang sepatutnya balik ke asrama tak perlu balik ke asrama lagi. Tunggu dulu. Pejabat-pejabat yang masih ditutup tak perlu dibuka sehingga sekarang. Jika ada perkara penting yang nak diuruskan dalam tempoh 2-3 minggu yang akan datang, rancanglah dari sekarang bagaimana nak menguruskannya.
Speaking during a special address broadcast on national television on Wednesday, Tan Sri Muhyiddin added that the upward trend is expected to continue for some time before the number of new cases will start to show a decrease. The government, he said, would also study the situation to see if there is a need to extend the MCO beyond the new deadline. And for those who are facing difficulties during the COVID-19 pandemic, now is the time for charity groups to step forward.
I call upon all charity organizations in this country to rise to the occasion by helping the needy regardless of race and religion during this trying moment. The difficulties they are facing are unprecedented, and I believe all of you can do something meaningful to ease their burden.
The Prime Minister also noted that the government will mobilize the Federal Territories Zakat Collection Centre to identify those from the Asnaf group eligible for immediate zakat assistance. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also said that he has to shoulder the full responsibility for the overall well-being of the people in the country's efforts in facing the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. For this, the Prime Minister is set to make an important announcement for the people this Friday.
InsyaAllah pada hari Jumaat nanti, saya akan umumkan satu pakej rancangan ekonomi prihatin rakyat yang lebih menyeluruh. Pegawai-pegawai saya di Kementerian Keuangan sedang pun bekerja bertungkus lumus menyediakan satu pakej rancangan ekonomi yang akan memberikan manfaat kepada semua. Sama ada anda ini adalah pemandu teksi, pemandu Grab, petani, pengusaha restoran, penjual nasi lemak, penjual goreng pisang, penjual burger, pekerja harian. Kerajaan akan berusaha sedaya upaya untuk pastikan anda semua beroleh manfaat. InsyaAllah, no one will be left behind.
He also expressed hope that the frontliners will remain resilient, stressing that the situation they are up against is a daunting one. And after addressing the nation, Tan Sri Muhyiddin spent some time to check out the retail activity at a hypermarket in Sri Kembangan, Selangor. The Prime Minister arrived at the hypermarket at about 6 p.m. and went straight to the grocery section. He also asked several customers on whether or not they found the supplies of essential items were sufficient. Many customers were seen approaching the Prime Minister and thanked him for the government's initiatives and efforts in ensuring the people's well-being while facing the threats of COVID-19 infection. Meanwhile, Sabah and Pulau Pinang became the latest states to unveil special stimulus packages to assist those affected by the extension of the MCO. Sabah on Wednesday unveiled a 15-step package worth 670 million ringgit that will see food rations sent directly to affected families, as well as a 500 ringgit one-off payment for the poor. It also includes free water supply for consumers for 3 months and a 30% discount on residential electricity bills to help reduce the people's hardship. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie Apdal, who announced the special assistance package, also said 70 million ringgit will be set aside for the well-being of the frontliners, including medical teams, police and ESCOM personnel. The Pulau Pinang state government, in the meantime, unveiled a stimulus package worth 75 million ringgit, which will benefit 410,000 recipients. According to Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow, the package will help ease the burden of the B40 group, including hawkers, small businesses, taxi drivers and trishaw riders. He said it will act as an economic aid for the working class to regain their foothold and continue to be self-sufficient, as well as take care of their families. The state government will also give a one-off payment of 500 ringgit to COVID-19 patients in the state and 1,000 ringgit to the beneficiaries of those who have died from the virus. As the movement control order entered its 8th day, the death toll of COVID-19 rose to 20. The latest casualty was a 76-year-old man who died at 4:35 p.m. on Wednesday. The man had attended the Tabligh gathering at Masjid Jamek in Sri Petaling and was admitted to the Sultan Ismail Petra Hospital in Kuala Krai, Kelantan. As of Wednesday, a total of 1,796 people tested positive for the disease. Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, in announcing the figures on Wednesday afternoon, said about 2/3 of all cases have been linked to the Tabligh gathering at Masjid Jamek, Sri Petaling. He said that 45 cases were being treated in the intensive care unit, with 34 of them needing ventilator support. Another 16 cases have recovered, bringing the cumulative number of recovered and discharged cases to 199. To tackle the rising number of cases, the Health DG said that the ministry has increased the bed capacity from the previous capacity of 3,400 beds.
Dan kita ada kemampuan sekarang ni kita dah meningkatkan kemampuan kita, iaitu kita tambahkan lagi institut latihan Kementerian Kesihatan sebanyak 1,892 katil lagi. Jadi kalau kita lihat katil pertambahan keseluruhannya bukannya 3,400 tapi 5,292, di mana kita dapat tempatkan kes-kes yang asimptomatik tetapi positif ataupun kes-kes yang bergejala ringan tetapi positif. Jadi dan kita akan kosongkan hospital untuk kes-kes yang moderate dan severe case, critical cases di hospital.
Malaysia has joined the global race to develop vaccines for COVID-19. Institute for Medical Research Malaysia, IMR, said it will collaborate with Malaysian Vaccines and Pharmaceutical Sdn Bhd, MVP, and University Malaya Tropical Infectious Diseases Research and Education Centre, TIDREC, to begin testing existing local vaccines against the COVID-19 agent. The IMR, in a statement on Wednesday, said the existing local vaccines used in the research will be those for the infectious bronchitis virus, or IBV, which is an avian coronavirus. The collaborative work is based on research previously done by scientists in other countries, which found out that IBV in poultry reportedly have high genetic similarity with human coronavirus. The IMR also expressed hope that a human vaccine could be developed using the poultry IBV vaccine for the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Testing will be conducted in University Malaya's TIDREC, one of Malaysia's modular biosafety Level 3 facilities previously used to study highly pathogenic agents such as MERS, coronavirus and Nipah virus. It added that if successful, the country will potentially have a human vaccine to go into clinical trials soon. Under normal circumstances, vaccine development takes 15 to 20 years, and the approach will enable the availability of COVID-19 vaccine sooner than expected. Meanwhile, a Malaysian PhD student is part of a team of scientists from the University of Oxford's Engineering Science Department and the Oxford Suzhou Centre for Advanced Research, OSCAR, in the United Kingdom that has developed a rapid testing technology for COVID-19. Lim Boon Chuan, aged 26, a Public Service Department PSD scholarship student studying synthetic biology at the university, said the new technology produced results faster and could potentially be used by anyone at home. Lim said previous viral RNA tests needed up to 2 hours to produce a result. The new technology, however, can give results in just half an hour, over 3 times faster than the current method. Furthermore, the diagnostic kit does not use complicated instruments.
The way we design it it's just like the golden standard to detect virus now, right? It's not just to detect one virus. It could be used to detect all sort of virus. And if you can do it in a cheaper way, faster way, easier way, and everyone can use it back at home to do it themselves, that will be the ultimate.
He said initially the kits were sent to China to test cases there to see if the kits work on real clinical samples, which they did. Since cases are on the increase in the UK, the team will be carrying out more collaborations with universities and hospitals there.
There's some responsibility on this to make it happen, and as a Malaysian, being within the team to solve a global crisis, I think not just myself, for my family, for the whole Malaysian country as well. I think this is something I could definitely be proud of, for my life.
Lim from Kuala Lumpur became involved with the project, which started last month when the COVID-19 virus was raging in China, with very few cases in Europe and the UK. The other leading scientist for the team is Professor Zhanfeng Chui, who is also the OSCAR director. The team of 13 had been working to improve test capabilities as the virus spreads internationally. The Oxford scientists are now working to develop an integrated device so that the test can be used at clinics, airports, or even at home. They are planning to run clinical validations within the UK and exploring options for production of the test kits. Saudi Arabia has ordered a lockdown on the capital Riyadh and the holy cities of Makkah and Madinah on Wednesday in a larger effort to contain the spread of the COVID-19. In new preventive measures ordered by King Salman, entry and exit from the 3 cities will be prohibited. The new measures, which will take effect on Thursday, also include preventing people in the kingdom's 13 regions from leaving the region or travelling to another region. A 3-week curfew imposed was tightened in the cities of Makkah, Madinah and Riyadh, beginning at 3 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. The travel ban does not include groups and sectors that have been exempted previously from the curfew. Wednesday's order is based on King Salman's keenness on the health and safety of citizens and expatriates, and based on what the relevant authorities have presented, and to the need for more precautionary measures to limit the spread of the new virus. The case of COVID-19 have so far surged past 700 in the kingdom. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Wednesday has declared a state of national emergency as the country heads into a complete one-month lockdown to combat the COVID-19 outbreak. Ardern urges New Zealanders to behave as if they had the coronavirus and cut all physical contact outside of their households starting midnight Thursday.
I have one simple message for New Zealanders today as we head into the next 4 weeks. Stay at home. It will break the chain of transmission and it will save lives. If you have any questions about what you can or can't do and you're looking for answers, apply a simple principle. Act like you have COVID-19. Every move you make could be a risk to someone else. That is how we must all collectively think now.
The move comes as the number of cases of COVID-19 surged by a record 50 cases to take the national tally to 205. The government has imposed self-isolation for everyone, with all non-essential services, schools and offices to be shut for a month. Ardern also warned that the restrictions will be strictly enforced and all New Zealanders returning home would be screened for the virus. Spain's coronavirus death toll overtook that of China on Wednesday, rising to 3,434 after 738 people died over the past 24 hours. The spiraling number of deaths came as Spain entered the 11th day of an unprecedented lockdown to try and rein in the COVID-19 epidemic. Despite the national lockdown imposed on March 14th, both deaths and infections have continued to mount, with officials warning this week would be particularly bad. Over in Italy, military trucks gathered up coffins from a church in the northern part of the country on Wednesday to take them away for cremation as authorities struggled to keep up with the numbers of the dead. Coffins have been piling up in the church in Seriate, which lies 30 kilometers south of Bergamo, one of the hardest hit regions by coronavirus. There are at least 69,176 confirmed cases and 6,820 deaths in the country. In the United Kingdom, Prince Charles, the eldest son and heir to Queen Elizabeth II, is showing mild symptoms of the new coronavirus, but otherwise remains in good health. Prince Charles's office said in a statement that a 71-year-old Prince of Wales is self-isolating in Scotland, along with his wife Camilla, who was also tested but does not have COVID-19. It added that it is not possible to ascertain from whom the prince caught the virus, owing to the high number of engagements he carried out in his public role during recent weeks. British media, however, reported the prince had attended an event with Prince Albert of Monaco on March 10th. An announcement was later made that Prince Albert had tested positive on March 19th. After this breather, failing to comply with MCO, teenagers face the music. Welcome back. The applications by former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak and 3 others to strike out the 676 million ringgit suit filed by Kapit businessman J.R. Deepak Jaikishan will be heard on May 14th. Based on information posted on the court website, the hearing was set for Wednesday, but has been vacated to May 14th due to the closure of the courts nationwide in line with a movement control order imposed by the government. The hearing will be before High Court Judicial Commissioner Kwee Chew Sun. Datuk Seri Najib and his wife, Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor, filed the application to strike out the suit on January 7, 2019, while the other 2 defendants, Bausted Holdings Berhad and its subsidiary Bhakti Wira Development Sdn Berhad, filed their application on December 17, 2018. All the defendants filed the applications on the grounds that they were not involved in the alleged conspiracy. Deepak filed a suit on October 12, 2018, claiming that he had suffered losses due to conspiracy, fraud and undue influence by the defendants in a property deal that allegedly caused his company to suffer huge losses. He is seeking 600 million ringgit in general damages, 50 million ringgit in exemplary damages and 26 million ringgit in aggravated damages. In Perak, 3 teenagers were brought to the Taiping Magistrates Court for failing to comply with a movement control order to curb the spread of the COVID-19 outbreak. The accused, 19-year-old Lim Chun Ho, along with 2 of his friends, aged 15 and 16, were arrested on March 22nd at 3 a.m. at Jalan Air Kuning, Taiping. According to the charge sheet, all of them boarded a car belonging to the 15-year-old suspect and travelled from Taman Sungai Mas to Jalan Air Kuning, thus violating the movement control order. Chun Ho and the 16-year-old were charged under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Measures within the Infected Local Areas Regulations 2020, which carries a fine of 1,000 ringgit or 6 months imprisonment or both upon conviction. Meanwhile, the 15-year-old was charged under the Penal Code for obstructing civil servants from performing their duties during the MCO implementation. Magistrate Adibah Abdul Kadir set May 4th for remention of the case. The judge allowed bail at 1,000 ringgit each with 1 surety. Still to come on Nightline, scores killed in Sikh religious complex. Stay with us. Welcome back. Turkey has charged 20 suspects, including 2 former aides to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, over the 2018 murder of Riyadh critic Jamal Khashoggi on Wednesday. Prosecutors accuse Saudi Arabia's Deputy Intelligence Chief Ahmad al-Asiri and the Royal Court's media czar Saud al-Qahtani of leading the operation and giving orders to a Saudi hit team. The Istanbul Prosecutor's Office said in a statement that Asiri and Qahtani were charged with instigating the deliberate and monstrous killing causing torment. 18 other suspects, including intelligence operative Mahir Mutrep, who frequently travelled with the Crown Prince on foreign tours, forensic expert Salah al-Tubaigi and Fahad al-Balawi, a member of the Saudi Royal Guard, were also charged with deliberately and monstrously killing causing torment. They face life in jail if convicted. Khashoggi, aged 59, a commentator who wrote for the Washington Post, was killed after he entered the Saudi consulate on October 2, 2018, to obtain paperwork for his wedding to Turkish fiancée Hatice Cengiz. Turkey carried out its own investigations into the murder after being unhappy with Saudi explanations. In Afghanistan, gunmen and suicide bombers stormed a Sikh religious complex in the capital, Kabul, killing 25 people before security forces killed all of the attackers. The Daesh militant group has claimed responsibility for the attack. Interior Ministry said that the attack on the Sikh complex located in Old Kabul ended after 6 hours of fighting with the security forces, adding that 8 civilians were wounded and 80 hostages were rescued. A witness said that a man dressed in a police uniform burst into the temple in central Kabul, shot a guard and started attacking worshippers in the main hall. SUKMA 2020 postponed. The details when we come back.
Kurmaku. Marilah berbuka dan nikmati croissant kurma 7 days.
Semalam, berbagai-bagai berita palsu dikeluarkan, diedarkan. Dan ini lebih menambahkan panik di kalangan rakyat. Sebagai contoh, ada audio, ada ramai yang posting di dalam FB dan sebagainya yang mengatakan bahawa Menteri Pertahanan akan mengumumkan perintah darurat setelah mendapat perkenan daripada Yang Tuan Agong. Saya tidak tahu Menteri Pertahanan mana sebab saya tidak berniat pun ataupun tidak ada dalam perancangan kerajaan pun nak umumkan darurat. Tetapi perkara ini dah pun dihebohkan daripada petang sehinggalah pagi tadi dan mengatakan bahawa aset-aset tentera telah pun digerakkan untuk darurat yang akan diisytiharkan. Jadi saya harap rakyat jangan mudah percaya kepada penyebaran berita-berita palsu seperti yang dilakukan semalam.
Sports now. The 2020 Malaysia Games, or SUKMA 2020, has been postponed due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The decision was made after a video conferencing call between Youth and Sports Minister Dato' Sri Rizal Merican Naina Merican and respective stakeholders.
Suka saya maklumkan bahawa Jawatankuasa Tertinggi Sukan Malaysia dengan sebulat suara telah memutuskan untuk menangguhkan SUKMA Johor 2020 ke tarikh yang akan ditetapkan kemudian.
He was speaking to the media after chairing the video conference meeting in Putrajaya on Wednesday. He said the committee also agreed that the new date will be decided by May 2020. This year's SUKMA is scheduled to take place in Johor from July 11th to 19th and showcases the best junior talents in the country. Now let's take a quick look at what's been installed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers for Thursday, March 26. Tan Sri Muhyiddin's pledge to provide assistance to all Malaysians during the MCO period takes the centre stage of the New Straits Times. While the nation's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, focuses on the battle faced by all frontliners in combating the spread of COVID-19. Berita Harian underlines the government's strategy to contain the virus, with the Malaysian Reserve highlighting Petronas's plan to survive as sector slumps into disarray. Be among the first to get your copies. And now, as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a quick look at visuals of American pilot Kirby Chambliss switching chicanes for hot air balloons as he flies in Arizona's pastel skies in a stunning display. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for your company. Make sure you stay safe and stay home and be sane. See ya.